I want to say hello to Kamala. If she can hear me, I know she's going to be speaking shortly. And I want to say to the team, embrace her. She's the best.
There you heard President Biden. I'm Chris Cuomo. Thank you for being here. It is time to get after it. The president bowed out of the race because he was forced out by his party. He did not want to do this. But the combination of incoming fire from his own party's electeds, COVID, and the chorus of concern about the polls and suggestions that he would drag down the whole party if he doesn't give it to Harris. That's what created the letter that we all saw yesterday, with the reference that he'll tell us more later this week. What will we learn? Will he resign? His letter says no. My reporting says no. The idea that if he can't run, he can't serve, silly. The idea that the right can trigger the 25th Amendment is stupid. Just read the amendment. So the Democrat power brokers got what they wanted. Next question, now what? I can tell you this, Biden dropping out, not part of any well-thought-out plan. You know the saying, failing to plan is planning to fail? Democrats are hoping that will not be their epitaph in this election. The only obvious move is the move to VP Harris, who made her first press appearance today. Yet already, the media narrative is shifting. It was, Biden must go because Harris can win. Now it's, Harris has some hill to climb. Why? Because that is how the political game works. And the Democrats played right into it. I know I said this last night in our special, but it's even more true today. Slow down. The media is in turbo mode. Harris is going to get increasing scrutiny. But we don't know how this plays out yet for the Democrats. We don't know what the convention will be like yet. Can they thread the needle of getting the Harris ticket they seem to want before the convention without looking like they once again cheated the voters and just anointed someone? The progressive wing of that party is flexing. They didn't want Biden or Harris. What will that mean? We'll see. And Trump and the right are already worrying about what they wished for. How do we know? The absurd and obnoxious early attacks, the tactics, as I call them, like this clip where they portray the vice president as a woke joke.
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
What's the problem? Well, the problem is they're playing you for suckers, as if that's just how she wanted to speak. Harris was addressing a room of people with disabilities. Many were reportedly blind. That's why she was introducing herself that way. Oh, they didn't tell me that part. I wonder why. Add this to Trump saying he wants to get his money back for running against Biden, and the speaker saying the switch to another candidate is illegal and undemocratic. You can smell the fear and also be reminded of why so many in this country don't believe or like Trump or his cronies. That's why it's one of the worst races I've ever covered. Very interesting now, but still, two of the lowest popularity choices in an undeniable battle of which is worse. It's a battle to the bottom. Thank you, political parties. My favorite early effort from the right so far is Team Trump complaining that the Democrats are being undemocratic in replacing Biden. They even call it a coup. My brothers and sisters on the right. Too soon, man. Too soon. January 6th is still fresh for a lot of voters, and you're calling this a coup. You really think after the flagrant attempts to undo the last election results with no good basis that you have high ground complaining about the democracy and coups? You think that's going to work with independent voters? Wow, that's chutzpah. Now, VP Harris deserves the attention right now, deserves the scrutiny, and she has her own very real challenges. Most are skipping to who the running mate choices are going to be, not me. VP matters, especially on this ticket. The favorites are Senator Kelly of Arizona, Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania. But again, slow down. Don't get caught up in the media's insatiable appetite for the next narrative. Harris needs a look, okay? She inherits a bad hand. She's down, right? The numbers are trending the wrong way for weeks. Now, of course, she also has a Trump card, which is Trump, potentially the least popular candidate in modern history. The ABT vote has Democrats anxious to help Harris. ABT, anybody but Trump. That's why she's racking up Democratic endorsements so quickly, including from folks who may have had a shot to run against her. Who? Governors Whitmer, Moore, Newsom, Shapiro. As a result, some of the money that was holding back with concerns about Biden loosening up to an extent. Today, Harris's team announced that her campaign raised more than $230 million in the 24 hours since Biden's announcement. That's a record for this election so far. So why do I say to an extent? Because you need close to $1 billion. And you're going to meet a major donor right here tonight who isn't feeling the shift or the Democrats' chances. And this guy is likely not alone. So why is that? First, VP Harris is almost as unpopular as Trump. Did you see the 538 poll? July 17. Harris, net approve, negative 11.8. 38.6 of those surveyed approve. 50.4 disapprove. That's high for a VP. Now, you can say, well, that's just an echo of Biden, but it's still a little unusual. Less than 70% of Democrats viewed her favorably before the move. That's in party, remember. Usually you're going to be at 80, 90. The question is why and what can be done about it. How much of this is because of who she is and how much is about how she is? Now, I can't answer what role race and gender play, but I'm not going to dismiss them as factors. And in terms of how she is, there are pluses and minuses to her presentation and pedigree. She can be seen as very charismatic. She can also be seen as condescending. She had to drop out of the 2020 race before the first primary on account of what? Poor traction, even with or especially with black voters. So why her now? Not a surprise. Sitting VP. And yes, for Democrats, all but impossible to pass over a black female in the party of DEI. Things could still change, but this is clearly what the power structure wants. Now, speaking of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, Harris as a VP, and more so as a senator, was seen as an exaggerated proponent of woke policies, which of course the right but also independents struggle with, which is also likely a reason why outlets considered Harris as potentially the most left of the Democrats in the Senate when she was there. For example, government track, tracks how many bipartisan bills each senator co-sponsors. In 2019, when Harris was in the Senate, she had the lowest at 15%. So then why are progressives, some at least, not okay with Kamala? Because Harris has a mixed record. It's not easy to pin her down on the political spectrum. Tough on crime, but also pro-helping felons with programs. Back and forth on Medicaid for all, back and forth on legalizing marijuana. She explains her pronouns a lot, but hasn't owned DEI the way some would like on the left. And of course, her biggest ownership issue, southern border. President Biden put her in charge of what's going on there, and we never heard anything since. It's been over a year and a half, and we never saw any real action. Now, all of this variety in policy positions could be played one of two ways, poser or pragmatic. This is for Harris, this challenge. Do you position yourself as the prosecutor in California that was tough on crime, especially harsh on minorities, or the senator after George Floyd when some saw her as unsupportive of police? So Harris has some known and competing negatives to handle, and quickly. But it is the unknowns that really fuel the analysis. Can Harris make this race about the policies that hurt Trump and get out of the cult of personality? She will lose that race if she doesn't. His attacks on democracy, his attacks on reproductive rights, his attacks on affordability of living, especially for the working class. And then you have the meta issues. What will Harris mean to voters as the first potential woman president, and a black woman president at that, and one who is the child of immigrants on top? Talk about the American dream. What will the prospect mean for the black vote, for independents? Biden was losing them each week. Most importantly, if it is Harris, how much will the ABT, the anyone but Trump vote, be boosted by a candidate without Biden's health issues? Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.